This is the Segovia Show.
Man, that came down to the wire. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to a tech stream for the Segovia Show. I'm your host, Segovia. I'm sorry I'm a little late today. This was, well, let's just say things didn't go exactly as planned on a Thursday. And there's always something. And I'm not a fan of the framing of my camera. Just a moment. Okay, so I have a few updates for y'all when it comes to some tech stuff, but man, I don't even know where to start. If you have not tuned in to my stream yesterday with opposing AB 1157 that you're here in California, please by all means do so, because today is the state legislature voting on it. They're trampling on your property rights, and oh my goodness, we just voted down rent control this last election cycle in November, and the state legislature is saying we got it wrong, so they're trying to impose on us their will. So let your voices be heard, and we'll see what happens. Alrighty, so today, for those of you joining me, this is mostly going to YouTube, X, and for those of you over on Rumble, locals, remember it times out around 30 minutes, so jump over to Rumble once it's done, and this is out to Twitch and D-Live. I will be going over some tech updates, but unfortunately I do not have my second camera up because I have to address something that Mr. Who's the Boss brought up with respects to Click's keyboard, and he is wrong. And I'll point out why he's wrong. And I did have a couple of YouTube videos, but I just didn't queue them up. So if you guys don't mind, I'll try to queue them up in the background. But before I get into any of that, I got a couple of things. First, it is the anniversary of Unplugged relaunching their entire website. And I didn't even remember that. I'm like, wait, didn't something happen on like the 23rd or the 24th of April? I was like, oh, that's right. So I'm very proud of that moment. This is yours truly was talking with, and let me stream this. This is when I got the chance to talk to the CEO of Unplugged, Ryan Patterson. And this was the first interview he did. And this was I published this one just over a year ago, and on YouTube it has only just over 1,300 views, but elsewhere this thing has thousands and thousands of views. So people were really curious to hear what he had to say. And towards the end, I hope to find it here. This is what he had to say with respects to my coverage and my questioning of what is this unplugged phone. So let me see if I find it around here. He was leaving it to the audience. Anyway, it was constructive criticism, and I wanted to make sure that you can hear it, because let me put my volume up. Where's my volume coming through? Community that's no, I still can't hear it. All right, there's some of you tuning in. If you're on YouTube, can you let me know if you can hear the audio? I'm gonna pull up my backup just in case. Yes, this is also going to Rumble. So I'm gonna pull up YouTube first, though. Or else I'm be talking to the ether this whole time. Of course. All right. Oh, I didn't tag him on that one. Hold on. Let me see. All right, so I hear my audio coming through. So I'm going to hit play. Let's see if it's here where he addresses everybody based on my coverage of the unplugged phone.
We'll be among the first to go for this. It's like, hey guys, at least make an informed decision, because among those will be where you can do it yourself. It's like, well, when you guys check out my review, I'll show you some of the Google devices, and you'll make your decision by Android, Google thing, and people misunderstand. And I'll explain those. And the other ones, we're out of time on this one.
Yeah.
Ryan from Unplugged, thank you so very much for
a whole new website coming out, and some very direct feedback from Andres about like what we had shared publicly and what we had not, and what was seemed to be opaque has been rectified. And I appreciate you, man, as an honest broker and an honest evaluator of things. And I was glad to be able to spend the hour with you.
And that was my conversation with Ryan. So Ryan, thank you again for being on the program.
All right, so there it was. That to me was a highlight there, where it's like, wow, I've ended up doing a series of these things. It wasn't that intentional. I was just like, dude, what the heck is this stuff? And reaction videos are some of the most watched videos on the internet, particularly YouTube. So I'm like, well, let me add something to it, because look, I can do the clickbait stuff. I saw today in the morning, I think the Quartering actually had posted this as a response to some other right-wing influencer that was complaining about the engagement farming happening at X. Duh. Those like me have been complaining about it for a long time. The algorithm is even worse now. So like, dude, I don't know who's messing things up over there, but the engagement farming has to stop. And every time Doors Designer, someone that I follow, and I like most of his takes, he ended up posting like, oh, hey, creators are getting paid today. Did you get paid today? And people were complaining, like, no, I didn't get paid today. What's going on? And then he had to put out another update, say, well, actually, due to engagement farming, some payments are on hold and under review. So it's been interesting to see what's been going on over there. But this whole reaction video stuff, I literally seen some reaction videos where people don't say a thing. They just make maybe one or two facial expressions, but they're literally playing the entire clip. And at the very end, maybe we'll go like this. And that's it. But that gets a ton of views. Yeah, it's stupid. The internet's stupid. But it can also be, good. It's just that, dude, all this stuff. So anyway, that's what kind of inspired this whole reaction stuff. I do like a real estate reaction series, but when it came to tech, there's some announcements of high profile stuff. Like, you know what, I got to call this out. But when it was happening, it was more on the lines of targeting like the conservative base, the Republican base, those that were tired of being censored and things like that. And they were the products that were being pitched at them. So when I saw some products coming down the pipeline being like provided and targeted towards a group, like there's Patriot Mobile out there. It's a real company, so they have been around, so that's no problem with them. But whenever I heard the terms patriot and patriotic being thrown out, it's like, those are just buzzwords. So then the first of its kind that I did was the Freedom Phone. And for those of you on Parler, you would know that it's kind of rearing its ugly head again. And stay tuned. I'm not going to bring it up right now, but in case it does, then you will all be hearing about it. But that was kind of the first one. That was like 3-4 years ago now, dude. That was a while ago. Then the one that I did last year was what is the unplugged phone, and the two more recent ones were what is the Brax3 phone and what is the above phone. So I can say with certainty that Unplugged and Brax3 and Rob himself and Playman, the one behind the manufacturing of the Brax3 phone, they have been the ones that have responded to these. Above phone, I haven't heard from them just yet. I'm not saying that they're not responding, but I think it's very early on. I do hope they see it. So then let's see what happens. But Freedom Phone, even though open invitation, I never heard anything from them. So that kind of became the thing. Like, you know what? I like this. So if there's something that piques your interest that you think I might be interested in and you'd like me to cover, I will make sure to bring it up on the show. Especially since I have this comment here on YouTube that just dropped today. So that's why I kind of shuffled my schedule a little bit. It's going to be the second subject that I touch upon, because those of you that are finding my content and seeing us support forums, this Steven Anderson 101 a couple of days ago put on one of my videos on YouTube, says, Sergio, I think he meant Segovia, please tell Rob I want my Brax3 that I paid for last December. And that's kind of what this has become. I would not intend so much to, I didn't expect that much attention like this, but those of you that are tuning in that are asking me to be a voice for you, it's like, you know what? I will keep the pressure on for you while I have, when I say a platform, it's not just YouTube, it's a bunch of other places. And with I can tell you that I have been able to communicate with a lot of people that I never thought I'd be able to speak to. So I forget who told me, but they told me, it's like, you know what? A lot of the people, some that you might consider your heroes, some that you might be fans of, they're a lot closer than you think in terms of reaching out to them. And next thing I know, it's like, dude, there are friends I have now that I never thought I even be able to say hi to them. So it's been an interesting journey. But I will tell you the Brax3 update here. That's the second subject, though, I wanted to touch upon, because there's a short attention span on X, and this is going out to X, and I got to talk about the Clicks keyboard. You'll notice also that the ticker down here, for those of you that are watching across the video platforms, not the podcast, you'll see Gainful there. I am giving a shout out to Gainful. They are my affiliates, and whenever I'm short on protein, they really pull through for me. So behind my left shoulder, you'll be able to see the protein, the Gainful stuff that I have. The bag is the protein. The little boxes like this are the flavor boosts, and the green box, one that I have to take today, is the power greens. I saw look, I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I saw an Instagram ad for Gainful. It was one of these, I guess, fitness influencers or whatever. And she was taking the power greens and just like, this is so good. I'm like, no, I still gag. So please, I'm telling you straight up, any power greens I've tried, they're just gross. But Gainful makes it more palatable. So if you use Andres Segovia at gainful.com, you'll get 30% off your order. So go try them out. Try them out at Target, but gainful.com allows you a lot more customizability, and they even are upgrading their formula for the protein. Anywho, unfortunately, I don't have the second camera up, so I have to go like this a lot, which is kind of annoying because the light windows are going to be kind of reflecting off the screen there. This is the Clicks keyboard. So if Kevin Mikola, aka Crackberry Kevin, and Michael Fisher, aka Mr. Who's the Boss, if you guys are watching, you guys know that I got the Founders Edition because I believed in the mission. And I do not like it when there are massive tech tubers that just do not understand why this even exists. You think this just came about because it's a pet project of a YouTuber that just like, hey, let's just make a product and throw it out there? No. If you guys see Mr. Who's the Boss's video, and I'm going to pull it up, and I guess might as well react to it. It's just that for some reason, sometimes the audio cuts off, but I think it bears, it warrants a reaction. And that's right. I got a real estate thing that I got to do with respect to the fires that happened here in Los Angeles. So that's probably going to be for next week. We'll see. But let me pull this thing up. It's Mr. Who's the Boss's video where he says that he tested every single tech tuber or YouTuber tech product. He didn't timestamp this thing though. He always timestamps. All right, so I'm going to pull it up to here. You know what? Let me do something real quick because I cannot hear the audio coming through to me. So let me change it. And by the way, I don't know if it's because I'm streaming to multiple platforms. I know some of you are probably seeing a weaker feed, a more pixelated feed. I don't know what's happening. So it looks strong on YouTube's end, but for those of you on Rumble, you might not be experiencing that. So let me see. I might be using too much bandwidth. Let me close out something. and hopefully that'll improve for you guys. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do you guys on Rumble a favor. I'm gonna pull something up here. Yeah, I hate it when it gets pixelated too. But changing sound output. And okay, let's see. All right, so now I'll be able to hear the audio, and I want to make sure that you guys do too. So let me move back to this and share Mr. Who's the Boss, and we're going to react to this together where Mr. Who's the Boss tested the clicks keyboard, and I'll tell you, while I strongly disagree with him, and the moment where I knew I was going to hate what he had to say.
Well, on first glance, this actually kind of looks like a prank gadget.
It's not a prank gadget.
You remember when the iPhone 5 was slightly taller than the iPhone 4, and we were all joking that this is what Apple was heading towards? Yeah, this is a lot. There's no chance that this is fitting into your average pocket. And if you've got women's jeans, it's over. I feel like every time you take this thing out, it's going to look like one of those magician's handkerchiefs that just keeps going. Does wireless charging still work?
Hold on. I'll pull up the Clicks website. I don't know which version he's using, because the first gen Clicks keyboard did not have MagSafe. So because this one doesn't. You know what? Let's just finish this thing and then we'll go to the Clicks website.
Technically, yes, but it's quite finicky now. And MagSafe is even more of a stretch. Like, technically works, but I wouldn't call this MagSafe compatible just because of how loose the connection now is. So this had better be a very good typing experience. I'm not really sure about this, to be honest. It is very BlackBerry-esque, which makes a lot of sense, since to make this, they actually worked with one of the designers of the BlackBerry Bold.
Yep.
But, and this is just my personal preference, all this reminds me of is why I choose not to use a BlackBerry anymore. Like, I do think over time you could get close to the speed of a virtual keyboard typing on this, but you're still never going to match it just because of the fact that there's a lot more resistance with a physical one. Oh, do you know the thing that I didn't factor in is that the phone...
Okay, I did not... First off, two things. The first thing is, yes, BlackBerry. That's kind of what we all have been asking for in the tech space. That's why BlackBerry did attempt. This is the BlackBerry 10 OS. This is the BlackBerry Classic, and I will make this bigger so you guys can see better. And then the first iteration of a BlackBerry Android, the BlackBerry Priv with the slider. Now, this form factor, I think, was probably the best version of its kind. This is the only BlackBerry Android device powered by Android that BlackBerry BlackBerry Limited themselves actually built. They outsourced their software to a TCL, which is a hardware manufacturer, and they developed the Key 1. So this is the Key 1, and then they did the Key 2, and of course the Key 2 LE. So there was a hunger for physical keyboards. It wasn't that nobody wanted to buy it. It's that there was no hardware, there was no software support, and TCL, the screens kept popping off the frame. So it wasn't a lack of like, oh, I don't want a physical keyboard, I want a virtual keyboard. Bull, dude. So that's the first part. The second part, and this is the part that annoys me, Aaron, you were pretending to stretch your hand because you're tired of typing. Dude, all I deal with are virtual keyboards right now. And those of you that have seen my videos, often you'll find my hand wrapped. Dude, I have been dealing with tendonitis because of this freaking problem that I have to type on a virtual keyboard that's normally cramped. And what I hate is relying on autocorrect to fix it for me. And oftentimes it is wrong. So I'm sending messages like, dude, this is stupid. So when I'm pounding out emails that are a lot longer, I can't rely on autocorrect and different keyboards, especially when I'm jumping from different phones. Like if it's an Android-based keyboard, oftentimes I'll use Microsoft SwiftKey. Recently, I don't know what's been happening with Microsoft SwiftKey. I have not been able to find it reliable despite learning how I type. So that one, and then the Google keyboard. But I don't use Gboard across everything either. So it doesn't learn my typing habits, but because it's Google reading everything that I have, it kind of figures out, well, this is how you kind of write. So lately I've been going Gboard mostly because I've been using the 9 Pro. But then iPhone. I try using SwiftKey on the iPhone because like, well, I type SwiftKey on Android, and no, that has not been very productive. So I had to use the Apple Virtual Keyboard, and I absolutely hate the thing. So that's why I went out to buy the ClickStick. I believed in the mission because I was just fed up with all of the typos. So you're like, oh, I'm stretching my hand because so much physical exertion typing this. I never had a problem in my years using BlackBerry where like, oh, I have keyboard fatigue. It's the opposite with the virtual one because there's different sizes. You can't rely on your memory there because you got to move everywhere when you're typing on different virtual keyboards. So no, I don't buy that, Aaron. I'm sorry, dude. I don't buy that at all.
Is so heavy and you're holding it with your hands clamped down at the bottom here, so there is so much tipping force pulling it over. So rating wise, I wouldn't say this is garbage. I like that the keys have a built-in backlight. I like that you can still charge your phone while using the case. I like that not having to have a virtual keyboard can free up a lot of space on your screen. There will be users out there who love this thing so much that they'd be happy to put up with all of the compromises. Am I one of them? Probably not. Absolutely love the guy's videos, but the product, really clicking with me.
Wah. Nope, sorry. Aaron, I love your stuff, dude. You're one of the few that actually calls people out and you hold companies accountable, and that's why you're one of the biggest in the world, if not the biggest. Probably behind MKBHD and what's his name? Lou at Unbox Therapy. But here, yeah, I can't. I'm not with you on this one, man. So where he is right is the balancing issue. When you have something this tall, this massive with the keyboard, and this is the key one. This is like having the BlackBerry Priv already extended. See? So they're pretty much the same height. So I get it. Yeah. And in the case of the Priv, and I showed it on my review of the Priv, like a 3 years later review, it's balanced. That's the beauty of it. But that's because this was designed with this intention in mind. Okay? This is an accessory that elongates a phone. And if you're going to use the Pro Max, whatever the heck they're called now, that's a really big jump. So you have the iPhone. This is the 15 Pro. And this as the accessory. Yeah, it's a lot bigger. That's on purpose. But you don't have to be carrying the keyboard like that the whole time, especially you have women's jeans, as Aaron says. That's why it comes off. No way. Yeah, and look, if it was a fumble to put this thing in there, like a big old hassle, then yeah, I'd be complaining too. This is, by the way, this is the first gen. The second generation is actually a lot more pliable and flexible to put this in. And it goes in, ta-da, and you want to pop it back out. I have easier experiences removing this thing. I will admit it required a little bit of practice. When I first put this on and try to take it off, I was like, dude, this is actually very cumbersome. That's because this thing was just hot off the presses. You kind of had to break it in, as they say, or else you're literally going to break the port down here, and you don't want to do that. But the next gen clicks keyboards actually look to be a lot better, and yours truly has pre-ordered the one for the 9 Pro. So I'm very interested to see when I get to compare them. Let me turn off the screen there. When I get to compare this keyboard, because this is actually the first attempt at that. The next gen keyboards are supposed to be better. So let me bring up that website here. And let me present again. I'm surprised my voice cleared up. So this is, now they have more products. It's not just the iPhone 14 and the 15 Pro. Now they have support for what's coming, the Pixel, the Razer, and some Galaxy devices. Particularly, I believe it's just the S24 stuff. But now there's a lot more colors too. So let's see the buttons with benefits. This actually looks the best, and let's see if I might be able to find. I don't think I'm logged into Threads here because Kevin Mikula, aka Crackberry Kevin, was actually showing it off recently. He was doing in one of those upside down back compression things, and he was typing while doing that. So that was pretty cool. But it's what he was showing off with respects to the the Razer keyboard looking like one of those throwback Blackberries. So let me just highlight this real quick. Yeah, you get more screen. You can, in the case of the Razer, you actually be able to use the front-facing display because the keyboard, you can actually use the keyboard on a folding phone. Dude, that's awesome. This is the part that interests me the most because they did make some improvements to the keyboard. The premium typing experience. Type with speed and confidence on a real keyboard that provides satisfying tactile feedback. Yes, that's... And I guess I should say this. iPhone users are not used to physical keys, okay? Because it's never had a physical keyboard. That was always a BlackBerry thing. There was the what was it called? The Type keyboard, I think it was, by Ryan Seacrest, and then BlackBerry sued them into oblivion for patent infringement. People really wanted to have a keyboard on their iPhone. That project failed, and because these are BlackBerry fans and also YouTubers with Kevin Mikola and Michael Fisher, they came along and they're like, okay, how do we do this without having a repeat of history? You know, and they got it done right, and they actually got a BlackBerry engineer to help them along the way. So let's see. Clicks for Android. So I have the 9 Pro, and if it's the 9 and the 9 Pro are supposed to be the same size, so the keyboard itself will work for that. But let me see. I want to get to the Razer. This one, the Clicks for Razer, pocket size, power packed. This is the one that's been causing a lot, well, getting a lot of attention. So the colors that are available, and it supports the Razer Plus, the Razer 2024, the Razer 50, and the Razer 50 Ultra. You can get it in electric, and the pre-orders ship by May 31st. And I pre-ordered mine. I just got an email last week, I think, saying that it looks like it's going to be shipping sooner. So I'm looking forward to that. But then this is what it looked like Onyx. Dude, that looks super awesome. Honestly, look, when you open it up, it'll be even bigger. You can still use the keyboard. But the fact is that you can close the phone, and now it's going to pretty much function like the throwback Blackberries that were a lot smaller. So I have here let me bring this up to size. I don't have it on me, unfortunately, but this is the Classic, okay? So the Classic in comparison, Classic compares to the Key 1. The Key 1's a lot shorter than that, right? So to Aaron's point of this thing being so massive, look how small this is. Look how small this is. And the Classic is even bigger than the Q10s. Last week I did an entire video on, an entire stream on why BlackBerry is dead in this year. So you guys can check all the Blackberries out. I brought them all out. And I might be doing an episode just on the BlackBerry portrait design 9983, because apparently, according to YouTube, that's my most looked for video. Anything about that. So I guess I'll just show you how I do use it whenever it is that I do on a day-to-day. And it is a museum piece. I love it. It's awesome. But I just thought that was funny. just how big this stuff is. But the Razer, if you actually ever held the Razer, this is an encouraging thing. Anything from the I think 2 years worth of models. And oh yeah, I gotta bring that back, right? We're reacting to this thing. Okay, so you have 2 years of these like model years, and from the entry level all the way to the most premium. I'm really liking what I'm seeing here, folks. I want to try that, dude. I want to get a foldable Motorola just to try that, and I am curious because I think you can de-Google the Razer. Because if you can de-Google the Razer, which you can do the same thing with the Pixel, right? But I'm just curious about this because there'll be a folding phone that you can de-Google, that you can use, because otherwise you would have to stick with Clicks for Galaxy. So let's see what's available for the Galaxy. Oh, they got some nice color combos here too, huh? Oh, that looks nice. The Pino. Sold out. Oh, wow. Okay. And look, 285 people are shopping for this right now. So, wait a minute. They're both sold out? Whoa. Okay, so there's no clicks for your Galaxy S25 because according to them, the pre-orders are sold out. So I'm sure it'll be after, after like a period of time. But for the Pixel, I believe it's just for the 9 and the 9 Pro, so not the Pro XL, whatever the heck they call it now. So their surge, that's popping. That's the reason it's sold out. When I saw Michael Fisher show it off on his video, I'm like, dude, that looks awesome. I mean, I'm not a Lakers fan, but I'm sure Lakers fans are probably eating this up. So it's interesting because Kevin Mikola is from Winnipeg, I think, and or Ottawa, one of the two, or is Winnipeg in Ottawa? I'm not Canadian, so I don't know. But Michael Fisher's from New York, and they ended up doing this, which is basically a Los Angeles color. And it wouldn't surprise me that LA Angelinos were really the ones that picked this up. So that looks so unique, and you want to add style. So yeah, that's cool. So now let's check out what they have for the iPhone. So it's 14, 15, and 16. Let's go to the 16 because the newer stuff is what matters. And it's supposed to be very different than the one I currently have. So I have the Founders Edition, and I've done videos on it, but I'll tell you a little bit afterwards. So the iPhone 16 Pro, $139 for this. These are not cheap, okay? So the little bigger Max is $159. If you go for the 16, is $139. The 16 Plus, $159. So they're charging you based on size, not based on anything else. And they have the Onyx, which is a good-looking color. This is what they call Spice. Very nice looking, honestly. And they still have that leather textured bottom. I'll tell you where that came from. And then there's the surf color. So this is the surf color. It would look like this. Onyx. Let's see what Onyx is looking like. Oh, they have a black interior, huh? Where you put the phone in. They have this. Unless that's just the instruction book that comes in the package, because that's how mine came in. No, I see that the black background in there. Okay, so let me go to Onyx. Is that also black? So yeah, of course, black on black. All right. And those are shipping now. They're available. And this just looks executive, honestly. And honestly, a lot of us BlackBerry types, whenever we got the key one, I'm like, we like this, but the aspect ratio is all whack. That's why the Priv was the phone to get, because you can have virtual and physical keyboards without having to have an attachment or anything like that, and you still get a full touchscreen keyboard. So it's to each their own. I don't think you can't satisfy everybody, but this is an excellent compromise because you don't have to wear the thing the whole time. So that's my take on the reaction to Mr. Who's the Boss of saying what he said. I strongly disagree. It comes from I would say, look, it comes from someone that doesn't really use it. In my opinion, he should have put this keyboard up there with I think it was Linus Tech, who had that that's multi-purpose screwdriver. That's how we in the business world see this, and then not just the business world. For those that are always messaging on the phone, that's what this was for. And speed is everything, so you can add shortcuts to this thing. Now, let me pull this up because I think it's important. It's not on. I didn't see it there on the website, but I am planning on doing a video comparing this and when I get my my Clicks keyboard for the Pixel 9 Pro, because I want to compare what it's going to look like when you. Now I'm typing here. When you get the Clicks software. So there is software where you can customize the brightness settings of the keys here, because these are backlit. So I got the Founders Edition, so let me bring this up a little closer. So I funded the project, so it's the Founders Edition. This back here was inspired by the Bold 9900, which was the best BlackBerry. This is not the Bold 9900, it's the Classic. So this is rubbery texture. The Classic Bold 9900 was a leather back phone that was like the creme de la creme, just a gorgeous all-around device. So this is where that comes from. Okay, so it's like a callback to BlackBerry. Now, you can adjust the brightness level. You can adjust the dim timeout. And let's get to the keys. All right, so here, caps lock, alt lock, soft return, backlight shortcut, cursor mode. And tab and control. So this is the big difference, the tab and control, because my keyboard, the way it's set up, the ones that went into production and now the new gen keyboards do not have that. So I have a tab next to a currency button down here. And I believe the new ones are, I don't think it says tab. So let me pull that up real quick on an iPhone. I can't really zoom in. Yeah, it's hard to see because it's not really zoomed in. So let me go to the home page. You guys are not seeing this yet, but all right. So this is a good way to see it. So let me go back to the website so you can see. Okay. This one's angled the wrong way. All right, right here. This is a good spot to see it. So I have a tab button. They have the click symbol on it now. And over here, where next to the control to the left side of the space bar, that is now just like the icon for, I guess, clicking home, like the command button on a MacBook keyboard. Well, I kind of have it, but underneath it still has the text CMD. So yeah, they did some changes, some improvements, and as I understand it, they even improved the quality feel of the keyboard, because that's one of the gripes that I did have when I got this, where it didn't feel like a premium product because it was expensive. I know it's a premium product. I know a lot of love and care and research and development went into this thing, but it didn't feel like an expensive product. It felt kind of flimsy that I might be able to break it. So they've addressed that for the next gen, and I'm glad that they have. So right here, I'm going to check the firmware to see if there's an update for the keyboard. So the firmware is up to date. So it's just, this was not, if I recall, this was not available at launch. So they keep improving on this. This is an excellent product. And if this was, I'm not saying this thing is crap, as Aaron was saying, Aaron, then they wouldn't have gotten picked up by Best Buy, because you can go check this out for yourself, try it for yourself. If you like it, great. If it's too damn tall, then by all means, take it out and store this somewhere safely. Believe me, you're going to store this somewhere safely. You don't want this thing to break. But look, back to normal. Ta-da. And if you're concerned about, well, now the phone is naked, then hell, Michael Fisher would tell you, use D-brand skin. So that's my takedown of that. Some of you that are newer around here, especially you were here for like the Googled stuff, this video by Mr. Who's the Boss, in that segment, because almost everything else I was kind of with him, but the take on clicks reminded me of Marcus Browley's take on the BlackBerry Priv. He does great tech videos. That's why he's the leader. He's the, like, everybody tries to model things after him. But he didn't even do the research all that well on the specs of this device and just trashed the device. And because he's the biggest platform, this is basically DOA. So that's kind of what kicked off my, like, you know what? I got to throw my voice out there for the tech people that actually appreciate devices like this, because we're the ones that were tailored to. So, like, for a long time, I didn't cover iPhone stuff because I wasn't an iPhone user, and to some extent, I'm still not. I'm not using an iPhone on my day-to-day anymore, and that's on purpose. But I got an iPhone because I fell in love with the Apple Watch. I have a wearable, and I am going to be doing a stream just on all my wearables, and I'll probably bring out some Pebbles just because the Pebbles coming back and I got to cover it. But if you want to hear why I wear it, and let's just say if it wasn't for a Pebble, I'd probably be dead. I'm not exaggerating. You'll find out why, and I've actually told that story for anybody's interested. It's called The Transaction That Almost Killed Me, and the whole thing is available on Rumble, but I intend to be replaying it here soon. But anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked on that. I'm going to move on to the other subject. So for those of you tuning in, thank you so very much. There's a lot of you across the platforms, and you got to pick up the slack over there, Rumble. What's going on? I have not officially been picked up yet. They're announcing who got picked up for the Rumble Creator Program, and I'm still waiting to be one of those guys. So let me see. Going to the dashboard. Your application's under review. So I have not been selected just yet, but they're announcing it for May 1st. And let me just announce this right off the bat. Should I get picked up by Rumble for a creator again, and my cap is up there, then what I will do is I want to do more lives and live reviews. So I have tech stuff that I haven't reviewed yet that I will review live with you. And if you have questions, ask them along the way, because I don't think any tech reviewer has ever done that, where a live interaction, a live review. Wherever I can, I will film B-roll where I can't do it where it's a second camera, because usually I have a second camera so I can show it all to you. But in the opportunity that I get, like let's say picture comparisons, for example, then I want to be able to at least have some B-roll so you guys can see all that. So that's what I intend to do. Sure, Rumble pick me up. YouTube is not a fan of my business tech stuff. I mean, my business streams. Truly, it's just not. Some users probably don't like as much my business stuff. Rumble really picks me up, but the thing is, you got to see behind the scenes, the analytics stuff. When you're getting just peppered with copyright this, copyright that, it's like, but this is my stuff. It's like, what are you talking about? YouTube makes it difficult. Okay, so if Rumble picks me up, that means for May 1st, the clock begins, and I will be doing about 30 hours of live streaming, and I will be doing some for premium content only. And what that means is you have to be a Rumble premium subscriber in order for you to view that. Now, until then, I actually have stuff on, for those of you on YouTube, if you buy membership, you'll be able to see the other content that's just not public facing, or you can also check it out on my local. So you're on Rumble, you're curious about that, just hit locals and you'll see the content right there. So I've wanted to do more of that, particularly like being able to work out, just follow along with me. Let's encourage one another, hold each other accountable. I don't have this health stuff for nothing. And if I can do this while focusing on my health at the same time, why not? And that's kind of what I've always wanted to do. So that's a tease. It's just that I don't know if I'll be streaming my business stuff to YouTube anymore, because I'll probably just be putting the clips there. The tech stuff will remain. That will continue, because oftentimes I don't get in trouble for that. But anyway, that's a tease of what may come. Alrighty, this is the update I got regarding the Brax3 device. How am I doing on time? Okay, yeah, I think I'm okay. All right, Brax3 device. This is a really good update. And for those of you that tuned in the previous stream on tech, I had bad news to share, and the news changed as I was going live. So the bad update became a really good update. So part of it is in here too, with respects to getting ready to launch. Alrighty, so this is update number 13 on Brax3. Update shipping timeline announcement. Woo! So hold on, what's the user's name? I need to pull that up. It's Steven Anderson, I think, over on YouTube. Is that not the one? Let's see. Yeah, Steven Anderson 101. Sergio, please tell Rob I want my Brax3 that I paid for last December. I'm not Sergio. I'm Andres Segovia. But I can tell you that a lot of keyboards, if you don't type in Segovia right, it'll auto-correct to Sergio. And it's annoying. So that's the first time I've seen Sergio on the comments, okay? So this is the Brax3 update. Hi, everyone. It's from Platinum, by the way. We're excited to announce the first production-ready version of IODE OS for Brax3 is now complete. Thanks to 2 intense weeks of beta testing and invaluable feedback from our early testers, we've cleared the final software milestone, which was preventing us from shipping. Now it's full speed ahead. Awesome news to hear. And we want to know how the tariffs might be impacting this. So this is part good news. Tuesday, April 29th, final assembly begins, including the OS injection and quality assurance of final product. On Friday, May 2nd, the final assembly is expected to be completed. On Monday, May 5th, all units are shipped in bulk to logistics hubs in the US, Canada, and the European Union, where they will be further dispatched to all backers. May 5th through 11th, estimated transit, customs clearance, and handling. Okay, and now Monday, May 12th, shipping to backers begins. So starting in order of pre-purchase, earliest backers ship first. Let me see if I still have the Indiegogo up. Yeah, let's pull that up. Okay, because I think there's I'm gonna finish this and I'll pull this up here real quick. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'll be able to share that. Share this tab instead. All right, cool. I have it ready. All right. Survey. It says, please note, while we've accounted for realistic timelines, minor customs delays are still possible. Yes, always the case. We'll keep you updated if anything changes. Now, this part's important. Listen up for those of you that have been backing this project. survey is coming next week. So they're only going to email this once. To ensure everything goes smoothly before shipping begins, all Indiegogo backers will receive a one-time pre-shipping survey via email within the next few days. Through the survey, you'll be able to add accessories to your order, such as case, screen protector, or micro SD card. Update your shipping address. It's been a while, so if you moved or you want a different address, you can update that. Now, this is for those of you in Canada and the European Union. Listen up. Prepay your VAT and taxes for a hassle-free delivery. So the US will need not apply. So please be on the lookout for this email and respond promptly to avoid delays. And this is the, I guess now I'll pull up the Indiegogo for everyone. Why is that pulling? Okay. Alrighty. All right, so let me read this part. Last chance at the $2.99 pre-order price. Despite all the tariffs, they're telling you can still get a $2.99 pre-order price. We're keeping the discounted $299 pre-order price in place until the day we begin shipping, so that's May 6th, or until inventory runs out, whichever comes first. After that, Brax3 will move to full retail pricing. If you or someone you know is still considering ordering, now is the time to lock in the discount before it's gone. And here's a personal note from Clement. Thank you again for your trust, patience, and belief in this project. The finish line is in sight, and we can't wait to deliver Brax3 into your hands. More updates coming soon, Clement. So I have enjoyed being your voice to hold them accountable, and I expected some of the snags they ran into, even the tariff stuff, because well, I voted for the guy, so I knew it was coming. I just didn't know the timeline of when some of these things were going to come. And seeing this, they're telling you that you can still get it for $2.99, but I want you to catch that. I think that's the most important part, because many of you were saying, this is a $2.99 phone, so why do other phones like the freaking unplugged phone cost nearly $1,000? Why can't they do what Brax3 is doing? You know how much of a loss they had to take already? So, and the whole tariff was really throwing this off. The phone was supposed to be at $600 at that point. But if $299 was the entry price, what is the full retail price? I haven't seen it here. Is it here? Let me see. What's the original price? $379? Okay, so with $379, and we'll see if that holds. But they're telling you can still get the $299 perk. Only 78 left. So if you did want to get in on this, you still can. Let's see what other perks are available. The early bird is gone. So the only one available is this one, the batch number 2 at $299. Afterwards, it'll be $379, so nearly $400 with taxes and stuff. And that makes for a more realistic price. Okay, I can say that makes for a more realistic price. And it'll be very interesting to see what they end up doing in terms of the right to repair that they're doing, because a lot of love, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears have gone into this. And this project, I think you don't need to be worried about having to change your phone so often if you get that much support for that long. But replacement parts, I think that's key, and you could do it yourself even better. So for those of you that asked, no, AT&T and Verizon are not covered out the door, although there might be a workaround for AT&T, but I wouldn't be holding my breath. And those of you on Verizon, you know how it's been like, even with unplugged, support just magically drops for the network. So they're telling you straight up, it's not going to work. Okay. All right. So that was that update, and I'm going to move on to the next subject. Oh, hold on. I got someone writing, "Hey, I'm from India." Well, thank you for watching from India. I appreciate you. I got a lot of people that have chimed in from around the world, and here's someone that's chiming in from India. Actually, I've had a lot of BlackBerry folks chiming in from the UK and India. So I hope there's that many people that are interested in something like a Clicks keyboard, because that's their next best thing. And I think they're going global. I'll have to check with Michael Fisher. I'll ask him. By the way, they're doing their own podcast. I didn't know. I forget what they call it. I'm not logged into Threads here, so I can't see it. What's the name of it? I might have Threads on this phone. And some of you are probably wondering, Threads? Look, I'm across the socials of the popular ones, the not so popular ones, and the more obscure ones. DeAndre Segovia, you'll find me there. But let me see. Captain Two Phones. By the way, I've always said follow me across the socials, and because Michael Fisher was a little fed up with X and Elon Musk and the whole thing that was going on, he would say follow me on Threads at Captain Two Phones, and now recently he's just saying follow me across the socials. I'm like, thank you, you graduated to that. All right, so let's see. I am on Threads right now, and I'm scrolling through. Yeah, it's called Clickscast. So this is the post. Clickscast. So that's hosted by Michael Fisher and Kevin Mikola. And the last one they interviewed Eric Miji. Oh, did you guys know there was a smartwatch for BlackBerry before the Pebble was a thing? I had forgotten about that. That was a long time ago. I might cover that on my next episode, but I'm going to tune into their podcast because they were talking about it. And the upside of annoying Apple bringing Pebble back. So that'll be interesting to see what this is all about. But yeah, you can check it out, Clickscast. You can find out all you need to know about this Clicks keyboard. Again, this is the Founders Edition. I'm very proud of backing this project because I believe in the mission. So Aaron, move that thing to 9.5 along with Linus Tech Screwdriver. And wasn't Linus Tech in trouble? Wasn't he in trouble for like scamming his audience? And didn't that happen with Lou too? I have not seen that kind of controversy with Kevin Mikola or Michael Fisher. So I think that's, when it comes to trustworthiness, I think that's something that we have to hold in high regard there. And those of you tuning in on YouTube, thank you so very much. I spent the bulk of this episode talking about responding to Mr. Who's the Boss and this whole Clicks keyboard. And because I don't have the second camera set up, unfortunately, I couldn't just show off my Blackberries that I had here. So there's the BlackBerry Classic keyboard, the Key 1, the first gen, and the Priv. So there it is, the Priv. I really would have loved to see a second generation of this. I've tried to make this thing work, but the Snapdragon 808 sucks. Thank you for the follows on Instagram and X. I appreciate that. Just to give you a quick size comparison for those of you curious, the Key 1, and this is an iPhone 15 Pro with the Clicks keyboard. As you can see, it is a pretty tall device, but when you take into account the Priv, extend the Priv, and they're pretty much the same height. The difference is that you can kind of balance the. Let's see here. Oh, gotta do it right. I did this on my review. Ooh, there it goes. Hold on. You can balance it though. You can balance it. So they did a good job in trying to get the weight distribution of this when you extend it. All right. You guys gotta get the point. Unfortunately, you cannot do that with this one. This thing is just so top heavy. It's just not gonna really stay. But hey, at least they tried. But it's an accessory, not a built-in thing. So that I spent the bulk of the episode doing that. And the second one was update number 13 about the Brax3 device. Shipping begins soon. And keep an eye out for an email from the Indiegogo campaign with the survey, so you can choose your, what was it? They're only going to send it once. So if you don't see it, if you haven't seen any Indiegogo stuff, check your email, like your spam or your junk, because you don't want to miss out on this. Because they're going to want you to pick your case, screen protector, or micro SD card. Some of you have been asking if you can add stuff to it. So you want to make sure that you have that all checked out so you can get it in the same shipment. And thank you, and user, thank you. You follow me on Instagram and X. Awesome. On X, it's _ Segovia. For those of you wondering, you can't find the Segovia. It cuts off at 15 characters. The Segovia is 16. So that sucks. And I have one BlackBerry phone, man. Well, let me ask you this: what BlackBerry is it? I'm curious. Because I have many more Blackberries, and if you just discovered me for the first time, check out last week's tech stream. It was all BlackBerry. It's from the BlackBerry 10 OS all the way to the current iteration, which is basically really these guys. But I had all the Blackberries, including the Portrait Designs, the Passport Silver Edition. The Passport Silver Edition is my favorite. BlackBerry 10 OS. I love the Portrait Design one. It's just really small because it's a Q10, but I might be doing a video just on the Portrait Design one because all of you on YouTube, apparently that's my most #1 search thing. Second is the unplugged phone. And I will circle back to the unplugged phone here in a bit, but I have to move on because I'm running out of time. I got to move on to talk about what the heck has been happening with frickin' Samsung. All right, so I have the Samsung S24 Ultra, and I have the Samsung Z Fold 6. Stupid names. I don't say Galaxy. If all of them are Galaxies, then I don't have to say Galaxy for all of them. Freaking Samsung, dude. Well, how much do you guys know about this whole fiasco of the One UI 7 rollout? It has been a disaster for them, and I have not liked this because Samsung, they went from being the slowest to push out updates, very bulky, touch whiz, slow down the phone, eat up the RAM. It only could run like 4 or 5 apps at a time because or else you cripple the phone. And then they became minimal, really focusing on the user experience. That's what they invented at One UI. And they kind of started leaning really heavily again into that, turning it into kind of like its own touch whiz. And then AI was thrown into the thing, which made it even more complicated because do I really want to pay for Galaxy AI after this year expires on my phones? Dude, really? My goodness, I don't want to pay for freaking AI. I just wanted a smart assistant to be able to work. So, like, okay, Google Assistant is going away, and to replace it is Gemini, but Gemini doesn't have the Google Assistant. But oh wow, you have the 9720, huh? Well, he has a 9720. Let's the Bold. Was it the Bold 9700? That I was highlighting. So 9720, dude. This goes back. That's a BlackBerry 7 device, isn't it? So would it look like this? All right, curious. So let me share this real quick before I come back to this. Someone's chiming in on YouTube. Yes. I will highlight that, but let me really quickly show this. Okay, so this is that's what your BlackBerry will probably look like. A 9720 will look like that. So it was like the 9700 series that was being relaunched. And it should look like this with the touch sensitive trackpad in the center. Yeah, I had something like that. I think but isn't this the wasn't it running BlackBerry OS 7? 7.1. Wow, dude. Oh, I do miss that. That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, you're still rocking that? Wow. Dude, that's crazy. And it was your brother's first phone. Wow. Hey, hold on to that, okay? Yeah, some of these things are museum pieces. That's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna get back on track for the Samsung thing, but I that's awesome. I had to give a shout out to that. Okay, so this user just said this is so true. Samsung software delay is still better than Apple's AI delay. Yes, Apple has really screwed up with that. But I want to make something very clear because the Android space. Okay, so there's a difference between the Apple space and the Android space because in the case of the Apple space, you guys still have 60 hertz refresh rates on a freaking premium iPhone. I mean, now it's improved, right? I think the new ones are on 920. But how is that even a thing? Up until recently, the screen resolution was still 720. You guys are really behind. Like, if you ever really looked at the hardware problems, like the hardware issues, the advantage that Apple has is that they take the hardware and build it around the software. In the case of everybody else, they have to take Google software and then mat it to the hardware. In the case of the Pixels are not the most powerful phones out there, but it's as close as Google can get to mimicking Apple in terms of, hey, we can build the software experience, the hardware experience around the hardware. That's the closest thing to it. So that's in the case of Apple, you guys don't even have foldable phones yet. But still, I know Apple has announced Apple Intelligence. They couldn't be stupider for it. So that's going to be very interesting to see where it goes from here. Now, in the case of what Samsung was doing, they became the benchmark outside of Pixel, and they're the most global giant out there. And they do have competition from OnePlus and oh my goodness, what's the other one? It's not Xiaomi. No, it's not Xiaomi. And thanks. And the thing is that if they cannot get these things out in time, then it's gonna be a problem going forward with everything else. Because when you have the dude, I don't have my Samsung on me. I left it at my other desk. Because how do I explain this? The S25 Ultra was the first to come out with the Android 15. And honestly, almost everybody's failing at getting Android 15 out the door. A lot of people were giving crap to Unplug because this thing is running Android 13. When is Android 14 coming out? Well, they launched it towards the end of last year like they said they would. So kudos to them. But Samsung, they're usually ahead of the curve. They drop an update every single month where they do like the patch, the security patch to bring it up to date. But then there came a time where where's One UI 7? And they released it last week or just over a week ago. I got it and I announced it to those of you on YouTube. You saw it on the community post. I was taking screenshots and I put up the the Z Fold 6. That one came out after the S24 Ultra, and I installed them. I had no problems with them, but the issues with One UI, and let me pull this up from Sam Mobile. This one, Sam Mobile. Okay, share this tab instead. An unlock bug may have forced Samsung to halt the One UI release. So this is the big issue that they run into, and I didn't have that problem. Let's see. Scroll down. Yeah, I don't know why it froze up. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. The page is styled. Some S24 Ultras in South Korea reported they couldn't unlock their phone after installing the stable One UI 7.0 update. This forced Samsung to halt the release. So I can't tell you, the bug was reportedly found on some S24 series phones in South Korea. Once the issue was reported, Samsung immediately reviewed it and withdrew the update from all countries, including China, Europe, South Korea, and the USA. I happened to get all of it installed before they pulled the update. But here's my issue with all that. How many betas did you go through before releasing the stable update, and then suddenly this is an issue? I got the notifications from Samsung. I tried joining the beta, which was really stupid. This is what happened. So I tried joining the beta through the Samsung members app, and it says, oh, you can join. But then it said, we could not confirm your carrier. My carrier? I have an unlocked phone. Why do you need to know who my carrier is? Why do I need to put a SIM card in here to beta test the software? Well, whatever. I put in my Verizon card. So I put it in, and then what happens? They said, oh, beta test is full. So I couldn't get in on it. That's why I couldn't cover it. But I never seen that before, where they're requiring you to have an active SIM. I imagine an eSIM would apply too, in order to get this to work. So I think that's pathetic. But this was not a bug before. They went through 3 different beta tests, and this happened in the stable one. Yeah, a very bad look, because when you look at it, and I think people misunderstand some of the stuff that happens here. Let me bring this back to myself. Android is, and because I'm in construction, so I can use this as the explanation. Android, the source code is like the foundation to a house or building, whatever, okay? So then the builder comes along and builds whatever they're going to build. And that would be what's their names? Unplugged, building their own things. IODE coming along and building their own things. These are the open source community, right? So then when you have the OEMs, then you have someone like Samsung, Motorola, and others. They will come and build their own house. But the house is built on Google. So everything's built on Android, okay? In the case of Samsung, they've done a lot more in attempting to simplify so much. They've actually kind of going back to the TouchWiz experience. I ended up upgrading to the S24 Ultra from the S22 Ultra because they said they were not going to be able to push Galaxy AI to the older devices before S23. I'm like, the S22 Ultra is a powerful device and you couldn't put Galaxy AI on it? So I did pull the trigger and I upgraded to the S24 Ultra, only for Samsung to say like, hey, guess what? We're going to bring Galaxy AI to the S22 series, including the Ultra. Get your act together, Samsung. So now what does that leave us with the One UI software update? Because it's delayed a bunch of the rest of the rollout, because I have the Tab S9 and I have the S7. That one's kind of like it's timed out already with the support. It's end of life. But with the One UI upgrade with Android 15, the Z series is the one that is fascinating for most people, because it's, depending on how much of a memory bank you get, it's like a $2,000 phone. So the Flip 6 should be getting it this month. The Fold 6 should be getting it this month. But the Flip 5, the older devices, next month. And look, they're even going to update the Flip 4. Even if you have the Flip 3 5G, it's supposed to get it. So that's supposed to be next month. But the S lineup is the one experiencing a bigger delay. So you have the S23s, they're getting to 2025. The S22, so that means the Ultra is also getting it all the way to May 2025. Where's the other one? I think it was the Galaxy A series that gets even bigger delays. Yep, they're getting it all the way back to June. Why does this matter? Because Samsung said that they're going to have how many years of software updates? 7? Let's just even say 5. 5 years of software updates, not just security patches and things. They're talking about major OS upgrades. This is how slow they're going to become. So now people are concerned about UI 8, like One UI 8. How long is that going to take? So this is a snowball that's been growing for some time, and now there's greater concern about what One UI 8 is going to look like. And supposedly, one of the betas is already dropping for that, or at least someone got an alpha build of what that could be. I think Sam Mobile was one of those that kind of picked up on it. But we're not even there yet. We're trying to get freaking UI 7 for everybody else. And not just that, where is this? It's like an albatross now. This super thin S25 phone. I don't know what that's all about, but it's supposed to be coming out. And I guess just to start winding this all down, because I got to get going. I have a complaint about Samsung, and I actually called out Sam Mobile for this because they were carrying the water for Samsung. Ever since Samsung, from the Note lineup, they got rid of the headphone jack. They got rid of the removable battery. Remember all those commercials where Samsung was making fun of iPhone users because you don't have a headphone jack, you don't have a removable battery, you don't have an S Pen, and you're paying kind of the same prices kind of thing? Samsung would be all in your face. And what happened, Samsung? They were mocking Apple when Apple made the brave and bold decision to get rid of the headphone jack. So did Samsung. And one of my concerns were that with the people complaining that the ultimate Note should be the Fold series because it folds like a notebook, that there should be an S Pen there. And it wasn't. And if you did get an S Pen, it'll puncture the inner screen anyway. Well, guess what? You would think I could use it in the front display, despite how cramped it is. The front-facing display of the Z Fold series is not compatible with an S Pen. Only the interior one. So you need to have a specific S Pen that goes with it. But you have to pay like $80, $90 for a freaking case that's so flimsy just so you can be carrying around an S Pen. And people were saying, no, we need a silo to insert the S Pen into the phone so it can always be with me. Well, the S25 Ultra, which does have an S Pen, has a lesser S Pen. It doesn't have a lot of the air gestures anymore. And suddenly, Samsung is trying to justify why they removed certain features from their ultimate phone. And I was disappointed that Sam Mobile, one of the biggest, if not the biggest website and YouTube channel with respect to just Samsung stuff, decided to carry the water for Samsung and say, hey, I don't miss some of these air gestures. Hold on, that wasn't the point. Because now you've given them reason for the Ultra phone next year. And I think that's what the whole point of this other phone coming out that's like super skinny. Oh my goodness, they announced it towards the end of their Unpacked event, but nobody's talking about it anymore because when is it going to come out? It's like a super skinny S25, but it's supposed to have some ultra features. I don't know. So they're going to remove the S Pen. At this rate, they're going to remove the S Pen because we can do a bigger battery, or we can make it slimmer now. We can make a thinner phone. Then that's what they're going to do. Because if you're going to say, you know what, maybe I don't need to carry the S Pen, I don't really use it all that much, they'll just accessorize it. Now you're going to have to pay premium just to get a freaking S Pen that won't have Bluetooth in it. So I see Samsung going backwards. I'm seeing it with the hardware, and now I'm seeing it with the software updates. They're going back to the traditional Samsung that was very bad at this. But they're also the biggest OEM. And that's why Google invests so much into them. Some of you guys might not know this, but Samsung was supposed to break away from Google. That's why they were developing Tizen. For those of you in other parts of the world, you might have noticed that there were Tizen-powered Samsung phones with their own chat app. Like it was like a line thing, but it was a Samsung-specific chat app. The Tizen-powered smartwatches, the Tizen-powered televisions. All this stuff that we're developing, and Google got freaked out when Samsung held their own developers conference. That's why Google's like, dude, hold on, we got to meet up. And things have changed since then, where now Samsung kind of pushes things at the forefront, and then Google says that we can help with that. So Bixby is going to go away, and I hope it didn't, because Bixby was supposed to have access to the Google Assistant servers to make it smarter. But if you actually use Bixby in the routines, Bixby is actually able to do a lot more than Google Assistant. Google Assistant, on the other hand, has been kind of left out to pasture by Google. And I was part of the Bard program. Bard was actually what you guys now know as Gemini. So I've been testing that for about a year. And I kept telling them, this is a stupid name. You guys got to change this because it's awful. It was the AI that Google was developing, and I was using it for like about a year on and off because I'm like, it's like whatever. But then I saw what they were going to do. They were going to replace the Google Assistant with Gemini, and now we're seeing it. And as a different user said up here, I think it was Chapley, is it? Chapley Kebab? Samsung's software delay is still better than Apple's AI delay. It is true. But here's, I think, what Apple's also going to run into. What Apple's going to run into is wait a minute, are people really going to want to pay to use AI on a phone that was built for it? These phones are now being built to be able to power the AI assistant. A lot of services are being baked into the experience. I can tell you, I've been using Grok over on X. I've been using Gemini. Before that was Bard. I never used ChatGPT. I never cared. But who was there another AI? Oh, Gab AI. And I use Gab AI too. So I generated a bunch of images just using those services. And in some cases for my business needs, when I just had so much brain fog, I couldn't figure it out. It's like, oh my goodness, I don't know. And then my coworker is like, well, why don't you see what Gemini will pop up? Ask AI. So I'm like, whatever. I put in the command, and in a few seconds, it prepared a form that I can use. And I'm like, I didn't have to write all this. I had to copy, paste, and edit where I needed to. And it helped. It was awesome. So, AI is not going anywhere. And I did want to have someone on the show that kind of vouches for AI because, of course, like everything else is a double-edged sword. But ultimately, what it comes down to for me is I don't want to have to pay for all these different AIs. Gab AI is separate from Gab Pro, which is the premium service that you get all the bells and features on Gab. Then you have Gemini that you have the basic stuff, and you got to pay tiers to be able to get more out of it. And in the case of Grok, same thing. Grok is already built into anyone that's paying for the for X Premium. But X Premium Plus gives you access to future builds of the Grok, like 3.0, 4.0, whatever the heck they are at now. And that goes the same for everything else. Now you have like ChatGPT / Copilot in Windows. They want you to get used to this stuff. The ultimate Clippy, I think Clippy was better though. In order for you just to get used to AI and then not be able to live without it. I can tell you that there are services on Samsung that I hope remain. There are rumors that Dex is going away. I do not want DeX to go away. I've been complaining why DeX is not available on the Z Flip series, only on the Z Fold series. And now there's rumors that they might not even have it anymore. Like, what the hell? It's like, even if they just say, well, you can use DeX on the Tab series, like the tablets, you know why that's not exactly the case? Because on the Tab series, DeX, you can use it on the tablet, not on a monitor, unless you're going to mirror it. You can use it that way. On Samsung phones, you connect to a monitor and it transforms it into this whole DeX layout. So it's an inconsistent experience. And for us business users, I run 3 different operations in conjunction to doing a show. I rely on these tools. I use S Pens. That's why I put up with that stupid case on the Z Fold series. But I also have the S Pen Pro. The S Pen Pro works on my Galaxy Book, works on my Galaxy Tab, works on my Galaxy Fold, works on my S24 Ultra. One sign-in on that thing, I just able to work across. I rely on styluses. I've long complained, why has the Apple Pencil functions not come to this freaking iPhone Pros? Like, why not add it to? Isn't Samsung making those displays anyway? If you put on the Max, okay, just put on the Max. Dude, just give me Apple Pencil functionality. Don't just relegate it to iPads. So I want stylus. I use the Remarkable. Stay tuned for that review, by the way. I'm going to do live. I have the marker. I love it. So yeah, it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Samsung. I don't like the trajectory of where it's going. It looks like they're dropping the ball a lot more. I don't like what they've been doing with their very conservative hardware updates. I think they're lackluster. Their colors are muted. They removed features from the S Pen. Rumors are it might not even have DeX anymore. People don't really use DeX, so it really is something that I'm not. That's why I'm not in a rush to get anything new, because I feel like I'm getting less because they want me to rely on AI. Is this a question for me then? So this is Afaz asking, Apple or Samsung? Is this, you mean like Apple versus Samsung, which one's better kind of thing? Because I've long since moved beyond that. I know there's still people entrenched on those camps that this or that or the other. iPhone 15 Pro right here, the Pixel 9 Pro, I have the S24 Ultra, I have the and the Z Fold. I can tell you these are tools, and what I care about is being able to get things done. Now, for those of you that are not in the United States, there's a little fractured here when it comes to OSs, and I'll end with this. So I work in real estate, construction, and property management. So these are technically 3 different industries, but they're kind of interdependent on one another, because you cannot have a home without building it. And then if you're going to have rental income, then you're going to need someone to maintain it. So real estate manages it in a way, and then construction maintains it. So all of these are interdependent on one another, but they're 3 different clients, 3 different sets of headaches. And that's why I've long relied on BlackBerry to keep me in communications with my clients, with my business partners and my coworkers. So as technology has tried to become more seamless, where it's going to be like, okay, so we have everything here all under one thing. It's cloud now, so you can use whatever device you want, and you'll be able to do this and that. That's not entirely true though, because like, for example, Instagram and even Amazon Live. I actually pitch products on Amazon Live, because if anyone's curious as to what I use on a day-to-day, what I read, my coffee intake and all stuff, the tools I make for coffee, check the video description down below. YouTube, Rumble. I have links to my Amazon front store and the stuff that I would like to watch, like movies or TV. I made lists there. And that's one way you can keep the show going. Just your normal everyday shopping on Amazon, but just using my link, helps to keep the lights on over here. So I'm not asking you to buy me a coffee or anything. I just use my links to shop like a Gameful. So with Instagram and Amazon Live, Amazon Live afterwards, but Instagram, it's available on Android and iOS, right? Well, until Samsung had like a feature last year, like the first HDR feature for Instagram, technically, Instagram only wants to live on an iPhone. You can't really use it on an iPad, but if you want the full full Instagram experience, you need to have an iPhone. And that's why I still carry one, which is pathetic. Like, it's not my everyday carry anymore. I use this with the Apple Watch. But for Instagram, unless you have a Facebook account, which I don't anymore, you need to be able to schedule things out, and Instagram only wants to live on an iPhone. So what about Amazon Live? Amazon Live is how I can live stream to Amazon. They only exist on iOS. But Amazon builds Android. They build it out, their own forked version, Fire OS or whatever the heck they call it. But can't use it on Android. Huh? None of that makes any sense. So these are all different tools, like Batman having a utility belt with a little bit of everything. I have all this. And when the Brax3 phone comes out, remember, check your emails for that, folks. I hope they get the Ubuntu Touch going, because then I want to have a Linux-powered device finally. I have a Windows phone still. I have BlackBerry OS, 10 OS, and 7 OS devices. So BlackBerry's here. These are Android-powered BlackBerries. This is BlackBerry 10 OS. And I don't have any BlackBerry 7 OS, unfortunately, but it'd be nice to have. And so the question becomes, I'm also going to buy a S24. So will you recommend me? Well, all I could say is, and I guess I'll bring this page back up because I was sharing it. If you're interested in about One UI 7 upgrade with Android 15, which is a very important update, then the S24 lineup right here is supposed to get it. So whether it's the Ultra, whether S24 Plus, or even the S24, or even the S24 Fan Edition, which is what this is, the S24s are supposed to get One UI 7 this month, and I already got mine. And if you get the Fan Edition, then you'll be getting it next month. So I guess let me pull this up. Samsung One UI 7. Come on. Samsung One UI 7 features. I think that this is what people are going to want to know. So I'll share this with you, and I hope this helps you make up your mind, because sometimes it's not about buying the latest and greatest, because it really comes down to the software experience. I'm not a big fan of the S25 lineup. I think it's just, I think the last year's models they had better colors. And when it comes to the Ultras, no doubt the S24 is the better one. Just no doubt about it, especially with the S Pen, if that matters. So right here, the features, the home screen notifications and quick settings. So this is pretty neat. I'm not going to go through all this, but anybody wants to, you can just Google it and you can check it out. So the home screen and widgets, a lot of it looks different. I will admit, I'm not a fan of the buttons on this. It feels like we're going back to how material design was introduced in Android 6.0, and it looked really cool because it was like flat. Now we're going back to 3D buttons. I don't really like it. Add or remove widgets. Everything's looking a little different now. The connected experience, though, is the one that's more important. Like, lets you view your connected and nearby devices from the quick settings panel. So, like, if you have the earbuds, which I do, if you have the watches, like I do, I have the Watch 6. I'm wearing the Samsung Health Ring. This is one of the ways you can check your connected devices. I have Samsung monitors and TVs as well. So this is the biggest deal, though. The Galaxy AI. So this is the S25 Ultra, I believe. This little nugget here at the bottom, think of it like the dynamic island on the iPhones, but now it's at the bottom. I do like that. I must say there's a few things that kind of look a little cramped, so I'm not that big of a fan of it. But other than that, I really do like a lot of the Galaxy AI features. So there's the cross-app action, so you can use Gemini. They're not even pitching Bixby anymore. You can use Gemini Live from the side button instead of the Bixby button. The gallery search is now even more thorough. It's better than the freaking iPhone iOS pictures photos app, because they really butchered that. Summary. Now this is where it gets really cool. Okay. You can summarize things. So you can do circle to search. That was Samsung first before Google was like, hey, can we do that too? And now everybody can use it. So the AI select or writing assistant, when you're taking down notes, all right, this is really cool. This is why I love using the stylus on my Tab S9 and then also on my S24 Ultra. When you're writing things out, like it's I don't have any grid to write on, so I can kind of scribble sideways or whatever. Well, the AI feature keeps you lined up, and you can convert it to text and all that if it recognizes your chicken scratch, and it's actually really cool. So those are the kind of things, work smarter not harder. It text helps you. Those are pretty cool. Then personalization, like the now brief, the now bar, the home AI, the AI privacy, the AI stickers. I don't care about the stickers, but the brief, I do like that. Like throughout the day, such as weather updates, health insights, I do like that. And you can actually bring back the edge panel. It's still there. And then there's a bunch of other stuff like Portrait Studio, the live effect. I actually do use those things. The audio eraser is now a lot better. Auto trim, image generation. It's all right. I don't use it all that much, but it's all right. And the call features, barrier-free communication, because there's 20 languages that it can translate to on calls. Record and summarize when you use the voice app. It's so cool because you can summarize it for you. I gotta use this more for my business meetings because then it prepares the minutes for me and I file it away. And lifestyle features like mindfulness, parental controls, app archiving, some of that's combined with Samsung Health. So these updates are coming in UI 7.0, UI 7. So it's technically coming to the S24. So if you want to go for it, AFAS, that's my recommendation. I think it's a safe bet. If you don't want to buy the current lineup, if you like what you see in the S24, you technically shouldn't be missing much of anything out, especially when a lot of the hardware of today's models are pretty much last year's, and last year's going to be a lot cheaper than these model years. So I hope that helps you out. And that's where I'll leave it, folks. Thank you so very much. This is a longer stream than I planned, and I even started late. So I appreciate those of you that were patient. This is one of my most viewed streams. I appreciate you all. And I think I had a pretty much international audience today. So this is going out for those of you on YouTube, on X, on Rumble, Locals, DLive, Twitch. I appreciate you all for tuning in to this episode of the Segovia Show. Remember to like, share, subscribe to stay in the know. I forgot one more thing. I'm sorry. You're going to want to know, though. I will share this last one thing. Because at the beginning, I was celebrating that Unplugged. It's been a year since they completely changed their website because of response to my video. And I appreciate them for keeping an open channel. I got some feedback to give them, and since the first anniversary is coming up, I'm considering bringing it back on the show. But I think was very important because one of the big criticisms of the company was that they wanted to be open source, like open source things. So I think it's prudent to inform all of you that they technically did that. They already put their antivirus code up on, I believe it's on GitHub. But last month, they even put up their kernel. And last month, during the beta firmware, they actually give you the option to unlock the Unplugged phone's bootloader. So for anyone curious, this is the repository over on GitHub of Unplugged. So we are Unplugged, Unplugged Technologies. They are up over on GitHub. So for anybody that knows how, that wants to, this is the place. That is awesome. They're keeping their promises. And I must say that for a company that people didn't really know they could trust it, they've really delivered on their promises. And 1 year later, I think I could say more of an experimentation phase is over. And they really come a long ways. And unlike other manufacturers that struggled on their first year, this is a company that's been growing with healthy sales. So I'm sure that Verizon users are disappointed, though, because they can't use this phone on Verizon. But for the most part, they've been really doing a good job over there at Unplugged. So kudos to them. So I might consider bringing it back on the show. But for everybody else, my show is across anything and everything. The audio version, the streams, You can find my show on Spotify, Rumble, YouTube, DLive, Play TV on Parlor, Twitch, BitChute, Gangjin World, Vimeo. When I go live, there's Amazon Live, Locals TV, and Instagram, and then all of these different podcast distributors and directories, because I am absolutely everywhere around the world to make me uncancelable. I'm even on the Fediverse, so there's no way they can censor me. I want freedom. Freedom for everybody. So thank you so very much for tuning into this episode of the Andres Segovia Show. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I might take some time off because I have to. And the next time you see me, the whiskers might be gone. And hopefully I'll finally get my long overdue haircut. Anyway, that's it. That's where we'll leave it. Thank you so very much, everyone. I'll see you on the next one.